Welcome to this month's DIY Crafternoon, and this month we are making spring fabric mason jars. And I've already got mine a little bit started, so it's a pretty easy craft. If you were able to pick up a kit from the library, you would have gotten something like this. It would have your instructions in it, a jar, some fabric, springy fabric, and a container of our favorite Mod-podge. And if you weren't able to pick up a craft kit here at the library, this is all you would need. You would need some Mod-podge, or if you don't have that, you could use Elmer's glue diluted with a little water. And you would need some fabric. You would also, everyone is going to need to grab a little brush or a sponge brush, a scissors, a pencil or pen, and a ruler. You may or may not need it, but depending on how exact you want your strips of fabric to be cut. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to cut your fabric. So everybody got quite a bit of fabric. You should have plenty for your jar and maybe even another jar if you have one hanging out in your house, like I have a million. You're going to take your jar and you're going to put it down on your fabric. I'm going to put it down on your fabric. And then you are going to put your pen or pencil. Did I mention you're going to need a pen or pencil? You will. You're going to put that at the top of your jar and you're going to roll your jar along your fabric, keeping your pencil at the top of it. I'm just kind of fake doing it here for you because I already cut my strips and I don't want to write on this fabric. But you're just going to roll it and keep your pencil right to the top. And then you're going to cut that fabric, and then you're going to cut it again into 1/2 inch or inch strips. It's your choice. You can make them either thinner or wider, and that's when you might want to use your ruler. I measured it once and then I eyeballed it for the rest. So I did 1/2 inch strips because my jar is a little bit shorter, maybe a little, mine's shorter and wider. And this one's obviously taller and skinnier. So I decided to do the 1/2 inch strips. So I cut those all out. I have roughly 12 strips here, and that's enough for my jar. You might want to cut maybe 20 strips altogether just to be on the safe side. So once you have your strips cut, you're going to take your Mod-podge in your cup. And you're probably going to want to put something down on your work surface because this is a little messy. The Mod-podge is messy and your fingers are probably going to get a little dirty too. So you can do one of two things. You can take your strip and you can kind of dunk it in your Mod-podge like so. And then you can take your brush and kind of brush it on there. Or you can just brush it on all together. You can just take it, dip it, and brush it. I don't know which way is better or less messy. I don't think it matters. You're going to get a little glue on your fingers with this project. And then you're going to take your strip and you're going to put it in your jar. So you want to line it up with the top of your jar. You want to line up the top of your strip with the top of your jar. You don't want it to overhang. And we're putting it inside the jar. We're not putting it on the outside. And then to help flatten it against the inside of your jar, you're going to take your brush and you're just going to kind of dab it and push it down like so. And you can use your brush to keep dabbing it and pushing it in place because you got that little lip here. So you got to kind of push it in there. And then finally, you're going to kind of want to brush it a little bit on the inside to get any bubbles out. So I see I have some bubbles. I didn't do so good over here. I got some bubbles over here. I'm going to try and brush those out. because those bubbles will show once your glue dries. And this glue, of course, like all Mod-podge that we use here at the library, dries clear. Okay. I don't really see any bubbles on this one. I did okay here. So then we're going to put our next strip down. Yeah, I don't know which way is easier. It seems to take a little more time if you just brush it on than if you dip it in. So I think for time's sake, I would definitely dip it in the Mod-podge. You put that one next. You're going to overlap them a little bit, because you don't want any of your jar to show. And when you're pushing it down with your brush, you're probably going to have to move it around a little bit too. And you can do that for quite a bit of time. It doesn't dry super fast that you won't be able to manipulate it and move it around. But if you just press it down, push the brush against the inside, it generally gets rid of all the bubbles. No bubbles. And I'm not using spring fabric because I decided to make a Valentine's Day one, even though it's past Valentine's Day. But I keep seeing this fabric in our fabric bin at work and I really like it, and I decided I was going to use it. So that next year I'll put it out on Valentine's Day. And don't worry if you get some Mod-podge on the outside. Mod-podge washes off with water. So once your fabric has dried on the inside, you can just take a wet cloth with warm water, maybe even a little bit of soap, and just wash off the outside of your jar. Okay, and I only have a couple more strips I need to do. See what I mean? Your hands are going to get messy. Unless you can find a better way to do it than me, which is very possible. You really want to press it down as hard as you can against the inside of your jar. That'll help get rid of the bubbles as well. We've got one left. All right, and then got a big, yep, I'm definitely gonna have to wash this off when it all dries. So once you have all of your fabric in your jar, you want to let it dry for 24 hours. And then you can use it to put fake flowers in. Don't put any water in here because then your fabric's all gonna come off. You can do pencils, you could do some other kind of arrangement in it. It's just a cute little jar to put out in the spring. And that is it. It's that simple. So you can make a ton of these if you have a lot extra fabric lying around or extra jars lying around, I know that I do at home. I could make probably 8,000 of these, it seems like. So that is our craft for this month. Next month, Janice will be doing the craft for us, and it's going to be spring book page art. So it'll be a recycled book page, and Janice will have stencils available for you, and we'll have stencils that you can cut out if you get your kits here at the library to make some really cool spring book page art. So that will be available as a kit the first Wednesday in April. If you're looking to sign up for the in-person program, that sign up will be March 10th, and that program will be the second Wednesday in April at 12:30, as well as the video for it will be available then too. So I hope you guys have fun doing this, and I hope it brings you a little springy joy, and we will see you next month. Happy crafting.